The alien warship cut through the stars like a blade, its hull glowing with the energy of 1,000 reactors. Inside the command deck, the alien admiral stood tall, his scaled skin glimmering under the lights. His soldiers whispered with pride. "Earth will fall within days," they said. The admiral raised his claws and spoke. "Do not underestimate them, but remember, they are only humans." The fleet of over 200 ships turned toward the small human colony that rested on the edge of the Orion sector. It was a simple colony, farms, factories, children playing in small domes. To the aliens, it looked fragile, weak and easy prize. But when the attack began, something unexpected happened. Only one small human vessel appeared in the darkness. It was no battleship, not even a heavy cruiser. It looked small, sharp. Designed for stealth, the aliens laughed. "Is this all Earth can send?" One commander jeered, but the laughter faded quickly. Within minutes, alien sensors went blind. Their systems darkened. Their ships crashed into each other as alarms blared. The admiral roared, "What is happening? Find the source." But no one could. In the chaos, human voices whispered through their comms. Low and cold, special forces on the move. Panic spread. The first alien warship exploded without warning. A hull breach tore it apart. Then another ship, then another. "We are under attack," screamed a captain. But the sensors still showed nothing. It was as if invisible ghosts struck them. A squad of 12 humans had landed on the largest ship. They moved like shadows, faces hidden under dark helmets. Their weapons fired soundless beams that cut through steel. One alien soldier tried to sound the alarm, but his voice ended with a sharp gasp as he fell. "Clear this deck," one human whispered. Their leader, a tall soldier with calm eyes, pressed a device on his wrist. The ship's power core began to overload. "Mission complete, move out," he said. The aliens never saw them coming, never heard them leave. Within minutes, the great flagship of the alien fleet erupted in flames. The admiral's voice broke with fear. "How is this possible? A handful of humans against us?" His officers avoided his eyes. They were too afraid to answer. Down on the colony, the human families waited in silence. They knew special forces had been deployed. They knew that where one human soldier walked, entire armies could fall. A young boy whispered to his mother, "Are we safe?" She smiled softly, though her hands trembled. "As long as they are here, yes. In space, the alien fleet continued to fall apart. Each time they tried to regroup, another explosion struck them. Another commander vanished. It was not a war. It was a nightmare. "Find them!" the admiral shouted. "They are only a small team. They cannot destroy us all." But as his words echoed, a message cut through every alien channel. A human voice, calm and deadly. "If this is what our special forces can do, imagine what happens when the army arrives." Silence followed. The aliens froze. For the first time in centuries, they felt something they had long forgotten. Fear. Ships began to retreat, some without orders. Captains running from shadows they could not fight. The admiral watched as his grand fleet crumbled. He whispered to himself, "If these are only special forces, then humanity's army, what would it do?" His words shook his crew. On the colony, the humans celebrated quietly. Their defenders had not fired massive fleets. They had not unleashed endless numbers. They had sent a whisper of their power, a warning. The special forces disappeared as silently as they had come. No one knew where they went. Some said they returned to Earth. Some believed they stayed hidden among the stars, watching, waiting. But every alien who survived carried the same memory. 12 humans against thousands, 12 shadows against an empire. And they had won in the quiet after the battle. The galaxy trembled, for if this was only the beginning, then the future belonged not to the strongest empire, but to humanity unseen and unstoppable. The news of the destroyed fleet spread across the alien empire like fire through dry fields. Councils gathered in secret chambers, generals shouted in fear, and entire planets whispered one single question. If this was only a human special forces team, what would their full army do? Some dismissed the stories, claiming it was impossible, but survivors told the same tale. 12 shadows cutting down thousands, invisible soldiers who broke fleets apart. One alien senator slammed his claws on the table. You expect me to believe 12 humans destroyed 200 ships? Lies, but another senator, pale and trembling, raised his hand. I was there. I saw it. Our flagship burned. Our admiral fled. They were not soldiers. They were nightmares. In the great war hall, silence fell. Finally, the High Council leader spoke. If the stories are true, we are already at war with something far beyond us. Meanwhile, deep in space, the human special forces moved quietly. Their small ship drifted through the dark like a shadow among stars. Inside, the soldiers checked their gear. One of them removed his helmet, his eyes sharp and tired. We've rattled them. Commander, he said. The leader, calm and steady, nodded. Fear will spread faster than our bullets. That was the mission. Another soldier, younger and restless, asked, Do you think they'll send more fleets? The commander smiled faintly. They already are, but they won't find us. Back on the alien capital world, panic grew worse. Fleets refused to move without double escorts. Soldiers refused to board ships. Some colonies begged for peace with humans. Claiming they wanted no part of the war, the Empire's rulers grew desperate one night. An emergency council meeting was called. Dozens of leaders gathered, their voices shaking. If this is only special forces, imagine their full armies, their fleets, their hidden weapons, one said. We must strike Earth now, before they unleash it, another shouted. But before they could decide, the lights in the chamber flickered. A cold human voice echoed through their comms. You still do not understand. We are already here. Panic exploded. Guards ran into the room, but there was no intruder. The voice came from every channel, every device, a warning. This is not the army, not even the fleet. This is only a glimpse, and you are already afraid. Then silence. The leaders froze. No one spoke. They all realized the same truth. Humanity had already infiltrated their most secure systems. If their shadows could reach here, what else could they do? On the edge of the galaxy, in a hidden training base, new human soldiers prepared for missions. They were not vast armies, not endless legions, just small teams trained to perfection. A general stood before them. The galaxy underestimates us, and we will keep it that way. You are not to show them our full strength. Fear is our first weapon when the time comes. They will know the second, the soldiers saluted, their faces set in steel. Days later, another alien fleet entered human space. 300 ships strong. They moved carefully, shields raised. Scanning for every shadow, the admiral in command growled, We will not be fooled this time, but soon. The same nightmare repeated, systems failed. Weapons locked on their own ships, fire spread where no enemy could be seen, and once again, whispers filled their comms. Special forces on the move, ships broke formation. Captains begged for retreat. We cannot fight ghosts, one screamed. The admiral tried to hold them together. We outnumber them. Stand your ground. But his words died when his own ship's engines shut down. The crew screamed as human soldiers appeared inside their command deck, helmets dark, weapons glowing. The admiral dropped his blade, his eyes wide. You're only a handful. The human commander stepped forward, his voice low. And that is enough. A flash later, the alien flagship was gone. Another Empire fleet burned in silence. Far away, alien citizens gathered in fear. They whispered in markets, in temples, in streets. Humans do not fight with armies, they fight with shadows. Rumors spread faster than truth. Some claimed humans had soldiers who could not die. Others said Earth had thousands of shadow teams hiding across the stars. Fear ate at them until even the strongest worlds trembled. On Earth, the leaders watched the galaxy with calm eyes. They had not yet sent their full army. They had not yet revealed their fleets. What the aliens had faced were only fragments, only whispers. The real strength of humanity waited in silence, and the galaxy was already breaking without ever seeing it. The alien empire could not hide its fear anymore. Reports of vanished fleets and broken warships filled every broadcast. Even planets far from the front lines began to whisper, if these are only human shadows, what will happen when their true army comes? Commanders tried to keep control, but their soldiers no longer trusted them. On one frontier world, a group of alien officers argued in a bunker. "We cannot fight what we cannot see," one hissed. Another slammed his fist on the table. "Cowards, we must crush them. If we run now, every colony will fall." But as they argued, the lights flickered and a voice slid into the room. Soft but sharp. "You already have fallen." The officers froze. Weapons raised, but the room was empty. One officer whispered, "They're here." Suddenly, the base alarms blared outside. Explosions shook the ground. Alien soldiers ran through the streets, but they found no enemy, only fire and shadows. By dawn, the entire garrison had been destroyed, not by fleets, not by armies, but by a single human team. And the message left behind, carved into steel walls, read, "This is not the army." In the Capital Council chambers, tension grew unbearable. The supreme leader of the empire faced his generals. His voice shook with anger. "We are the oldest empire in this galaxy. We have crushed countless enemies. Why should we fear Earth?" But even as he spoke, he remembered the destroyed fleets, the trembling reports, and the whispers of survivors. One general dared to answer, "Because they fight differently. They do not march in numbers. They strike like hunters. They break us from the inside." The leader roared. "Then we must hunt them back, double our fleet, set traps, force them into the open." Soon, hundreds of alien ships filled the stars. Patrols swept every system. Planets built defenses with weapons aimed at the void. Yet the humans never came where they were expected. Instead, ships vanished in unguarded sectors. Commanders disappeared during meetings, and colonies fell silent overnight. Fear was spreading faster than any human bullet on Earth. The special forces watched with calm discipline. In their hidden base, the commander stood before his soldiers. "They are afraid, and fear is the strongest weapon. But our mission is not to end them yet. It is to remind them every time they breathe that we are already close." One soldier smirked. "Ghost stories work better than bombs," the commander replied. "Ghost stories break empires." The aliens, desperate, began to turn on each other. Accusations spread. Some claimed spies inside their ranks worked for humans. Others accused entire fleets of surrendering without a fight. Civil unrest broke out on their border worlds. Crowds shouted in anger, "You cannot protect us. Humans walk among us already." The Empire tried to silence them. But fear cannot be silenced. In the shadows of one alien shipyard, another human squad landed. They planted charges across massive carriers. When guards approached, a soldier whispered in his helmet, "Lights out," and the entire shipyard plunged into darkness. By the time the lights returned, 3 carriers were gone, vaporized in silence. The survivors screamed, "They strike without warning. They leave nothing." The galaxy began to believe humanity had armies everywhere, armies that no one could see. In truth, only a handful of squads operated, but their precision made them seem like legions. The Empire Council received a final warning when one of their own war rooms went silent mid-session. Only a single recording survived, a human voice saying, "We are not your enemy yet, we are your reminder. You do not want the army." The recording spread in secret channels. Some aliens laughed nervously, calling it lies. Others stayed silent. Their silence spoke louder than denial. On one distant world, a young alien soldier asked his captain, "Why do they not send their army? Why only these shadows?" The captain stared into the dark sky, his voice heavy, "Because they don't need to. If this is only the beginning, the end would be more than we can imagine." In space, the human special forces slipped away once again. Unseen, unstoppable. Behind them, the galaxy trembled. The greatest empires had fleets of thousands, weapons that could destroy moons. Yet they were breaking apart, not because of armies, but because of 12 humans who moved like shadows. Humanity had not shown its full hand, not yet, and already the galaxy was asking itself one question, a question that shook every council, every soldier, every world. If this is only special forces, then what would their full army do? The alien empire was breaking. Fleets that once ruled the stars now feared empty space. Soldiers who had marched with pride now looked over their shoulders in silence. Every time a ship entered the void, captains whispered, "What if they are here?" Entire colonies begged for safety, but the Empire had no answers. In the council chamber, the supreme leader faced his advisors. His voice was harsh, but his eyes betrayed fear. "We cannot continue like this. Our people doubt us, our fleets collapse. We need control," one general leaned forward. "Then we must send a message back to Earth. If they think we are weak, they will only push harder. We must strike their home." Another general shook his head. "Strike Earth? Are you mad? If their shadows can destroy us, what would their full defense do?" The chamber fell silent. For the first time, they realized the truth. Earth had never revealed its strength. While they argued, the humans prepared their next move. On a hidden base orbiting a dead star, the special forces gathered. Their commander studied holograms of alien fleets. "They are desperate now. That makes them reckless," he said. One soldier smirked. "Reckless enemies die faster." Another soldier, younger, asked, "Do you think they will try to hit Earth?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "If they do, that will be their last mistake." Days later, the aliens launched a bold plan. A massive fleet of 400 ships gathered at the edge of human space. Their admiral stood tall, determined to break the fear. "We will not run anymore," he told his crew. "We will strike at their heart." But even before the fleet moved, strange things began to happen. Their comms filled with static. Their engines slowed. Some ships reported false orders coming from within their own system. "Admiral, we are receiving commands from Earth itself," one officer gasped. The admiral shouted, "Block them! Shut down the signals!" But it was too late. The humans were inside their systems, guiding them like puppets. Suddenly ships turned their weapons on each other. Explosions lit the sky. The admiral screamed, "Who is doing this?" "Where are they?" Then a cold human voice echoed through every channel. "Calm and sharp. We are only shadows. You are fighting yourselves." Panic erupted. The fleet broke apart before even leaving its station. The survivors returned home, humiliated. The Empire tried to hide the disaster, but rumors spread. On alien streets, children whispered ghost stories about humans who controlled machines with their thoughts. Merchants refused to trade with soldiers, claiming war with Earth was cursed. Fear became stronger than loyalty. Meanwhile, on Earth, leaders watched from silent chambers, their faces calm, their voices measured. "They are unraveling without us sending an army," one said. Another replied, "That is the plan. Keep the army hidden until the right time." Back in alien space, the supreme leader grew desperate. He ordered his scientists to study human tactics. Hoping to uncover their secret, they captured fragments of destroyed human tech, broken helmets, melted weapons. But the more they studied, the less they understood. "Their weapons adapt," one scientist muttered. "Their systems shift faster than ours can analyze. It is as if they planned for chaos." The leader slammed his fist. "Find me answers, or I will find someone who can." But before the scientists could finish, their entire lab went dark when power returned. Every piece of human tech was gone, stolen. The walls bore a single mark, the symbol of Earth. The message was clear. Humans were watching them even here. That night, the leader stood alone in his palace chamber. His reflection stared back at him from a dark window. He whispered to himself, "We wanted to test their strength, but we only tested our weakness." A voice answered from the shadows, "Low and human. You have not seen strength yet." Guards rushed in. But no one was there, only silence. The leader trembled, gripping his claws tight. He realized Earth was not fighting to win battles. Earth was fighting to control fear itself across the galaxy. The alien empire's allies began to withdraw. Races that once respected the Empire now turned away. Some reached out secretly to Earth, offering alliances, offering peace. The Empire stood alone, wounded and desperate in the void. The human special forces continued their quiet war, striking where no one expected, vanishing before they could be touched. To the aliens, it felt like fighting ghosts. To humanity, it was only the beginning. The shadows had shown what 12 soldiers could do. The question haunted the galaxy more each day. If these were only special forces, then what would happen when the full army came? The galaxy was no longer the same. Fear of humanity spread faster than war. The alien empire that once ruled with iron claws now trembled at shadows. Their fleets sailed the stars with hesitation. Their soldiers no longer trusted their commanders, and their citizens whispered questions that the leaders could not answer. If 12 humans can destroy us, what would happen if Earth sends thousands? In the capital, the supreme leader paced in his chamber. His generals stood silent, none daring to speak. Finally, he turned to them, his voice sharp. "We are losing not to armies, but to fear. Our people doubt us. Our allies abandon us. This must end," one general finally spoke. "Then perhaps we should end the war. Seek peace with Earth." The leader's eyes burned with fury. Peace? After all this humiliation? No, we must strike them where it hurts. Show them we still have power. The generals exchanged nervous glances. But none dared to argue. In the shadows of space, the human special forces continued their work. Their ship was small, silent, built for stealth inside. The commander gathered his team. The Empire grows desperate. That makes them dangerous. One soldier leaned back in his seat. Desperate enemies make mistakes. Another, younger and restless, asked, "Do you think they'll try to attack Earth again?" The commander's voice was steady. "They will try and we will be ready." Days later, the aliens launched their boldest plan. Instead of moving fleets blindly, they gathered their greatest warlords. Leaders of armies feared across the galaxy in secret. They prepared an invasion of a human outpost near the rim. "This will draw them out," one warlord growled. "If their shadows come, we will crush them with numbers." The invasion began under a cloak of silence. Hundreds of alien ships surrounded the outpost. Inside, a few human colonists lived simple lives, unaware of the storm coming, but Earth had already known. The special forces were waiting. When the first alien ships fired, the outpost seemed to vanish. The warlords shouted in triumph, "We destroyed it!" But as the smoke cleared, they realized the outpost was still standing. It had been a projection, a false image. The humans had tricked them suddenly. Their ships went dark. Systems shut down. Alarms screamed, "They are inside our fleet." One captain cried, on the largest warship. A warlord stood frozen as human soldiers appeared on his deck. Black-armored, silent as death, he drew his blade. But the human leader only spoke calm and cold. "This is not your war to win." In seconds, the ship's core was overloaded. Flames tore through it. The other warlords tried to rally, but every ship fell one by one. Not to fleets, not to armies, but to shadows by dawn. The great invasion force had been wiped out. News of the disaster spread across the Empire. For the first time, the supreme leader saw rebellion rise among his own people. Protests filled the streets, soldiers abandoned posts. Colonies declared independence. "You cannot protect us," they shouted. "Humans are already here." The leader tried to crush the unrest with fear, but it was too late. His empire was bleeding from within. In secret, a message arrived to him, encrypted and impossible to trace. It was human. The words were simple. "You are not fighting our army. You are fighting our warning." The leader smashed the device in rage, but the words echoed in his mind. In Earth's command chambers, the generals spoke quietly. "They are breaking piece by piece. Our shadows have done their work." One general leaned forward. "When do we show them the army?" The room fell silent. Their commander, an older man with sharp eyes, finally spoke. "Not yet. Let them destroy themselves with fear. When the day comes, we will not need to show our numbers. They will already know." Meanwhile, the galaxy whispered louder. Across planets, across stations, voices trembled with the same thought. If these are only special forces, then the full army will be unstoppable. The question grew heavier each day, and even the strongest leaders could no longer silence it. Humanity had not fired its fleets. Humanity had not marched its soldiers. Yet the galaxy was already surrendering to shadows. The alien empire was collapsing. Colonies declared independence. Fleets abandoned their missions, and soldiers refused to fight. The supreme leader sat alone in his war chamber, staring at the fading map of his territory. Every day another world was lost, not to battles but to fear. His generals stood silent. Afraid to speak, finally the leader rose, his voice heavy with desperation. We cannot win against shadows. They strike where we are weakest. They vanish before we can fight. If this is only their special forces, then we cannot survive their army. His words echoed in the chamber. No one dared to disagree. Meanwhile, in the void between stars, the human special forces moved silently. Their mission was not destruction now, but message. The commander gathered his team in the dark briefing room. The Empire is crumbling. But fear alone cannot end this war tonight. We show them the truth. The soldiers nodded, their eyes cold. They knew their task was bigger than battles. On the alien capital world, unrest filled the streets. Citizens shouted in rage, "You lied to us. You cannot protect us. Humanity is already here." The supreme leader tried to calm them with promises of strength. But his words were drowned by fear. That night, the sky above the capital burned. Not with bombs, not with fleets, but with a single projection. A massive hologram filled the stars, a human figure cloaked in shadow. The voice spoke calmly. "You have fought against a handful of our soldiers, and you have lost. These were not our armies, not our fleets, only our shadows. If you continue this war, you will face the truth of humanity, and it will end you." The people froze. The soldiers froze. Even the leader felt his knees weaken in the silence. He realized the galaxy had already lost. The next day, entire fleets surrendered without orders. Some commanders abandoned their ships and vanished. The Empire fractured, worlds pulling away, councils breaking apart. But the humans did not advance. They did not send their armies. They remained in silence, watching, waiting. The alien people asked themselves the same question again and again. If shadows can do this, what would the full army do? In Earth's hidden command chamber, generals watched the galaxy unravel. One spoke softly. "It is enough. They will not rise against us again." Another asked, "Should we reveal the army now?" The commander shook his head, his eyes sharp. "No, the galaxy has already surrendered to the idea of our strength. Why waste lives to prove it? Let the fear of what we could do keep them in line." The special forces returned home. Silent and unseen, they had fought without numbers, without fleets, yet had broken an empire. A soldier asked his commander quietly, "Did we win?" The commander looked out at the stars, his voice calm. "Not with weapons, not with armies. We won with fear, and fear will last longer than war." Across the galaxy, no one dared to challenge Earth again. The memory of 12 humans cutting through fleets of thousands became legend. Stories spread that humanity had armies hidden behind every star, fleets larger than worlds, weapons that could end suns. None of it was true, but none of it needed to be. The galaxy had already decided. If this was only humanity's special forces, then the full army must be unstoppable. In the quiet darkness of space, humanity held its secret close. Their strength was not just in weapons, but in patience. And while the galaxy trembled, Earth prepared for the future, watching, waiting, ready to remind the stars again if ever they forgot.